This sounds like a fun adventure. Just got me and you talking about things that schools never teach us. We're gonna get really private right here. So here we go to my first experience of being in the red light district.
So we're here right now.
Those sex knowledge includes awkward high school and middle school taboos of sex, societal standards of sex, physiological and psychological of sex, losing your V card, masturbation, porn, contraception, and all those of interest. And the timestamps are listed in the description box for you to skip around as you like.
I really don't know what is going on right now. I can't describe this day in my life. I feel like today I already lost my virginity, like my mental virginity, because I gained quite some experience with this. This is a legit sexual culture and industry that's going on with this red light district. This sexual industry thing, they made prostitutes a legal job around 300 years ago in Amsterdam, because this place is a really popular port in Amsterdam. And then when people get off from the ships that want some entertainment activity, so it turned out to be sex around the canals. And it says that the red lights in this air district is to cover up their sexual disease, STIs, because STI is a real problem with you. And my friend told me that in the windows, there's a little box for the girl to stand inside.
Normally, the sexual workers are self-employed and they pay the rent of the cabin at the beginning of their shift. The average evening earning can range from 200 to 600 euros. The cost varies a lot depending on the extra services, so it can really add up.
And they can earn their money by standing there. According to economy, that would be their fixed cost. So economy, sexual facts, and industry and history all in one for you all here. Asians, we always ask our mom and dad this question, where do we come from? And our mom and dads kept on hiding us and not answering this question. They always answer, oh, God created us, or we have came out from a ball-like rock. We just popped the rock, exploded, and we came out from the rock. They don't tell us the whole truth about it, but this weird thing, we never know anything about sex as Asians, and I really had limited knowledge in this until I went to America for living in a dorm. I didn't know what sex style was, or people would have sex on the Valentine's Day, because it seems like sex on Valentine's Day is a normal thing, but in my mind it is not normal at all. And there's this word called sex style. It means that your roommate's having sex in the room and you're kicked out of the room because the room is occupied for that particular reason. Because sex in Asian culture is such a taboo. As this age, just learning all these things, I feel like I'm a little bit too late, but I won't be having premarital sex, but I still want to know those information because I want to be prepared when that day comes. And for Asians, that day tend to be slower. We lose our virginity around 21 years old, according to statistics. And Western people tend to lose their virginity around like 70. I don't know if it's good to stay naive like this, but
wow.
really self like a motivated to put myself in here.
就自己进来。
Myself in here. Sex newbie who has never watched porn or know any knowledge about sex. It's really novel and, you know, refreshing in a weird way to be visiting here. And you know, sex should not be something that we should be scared to talk to, because you know, everyone is a product of sex. That's the moral or the lesson of the story again, because we are once in our mom's womb and that's a result of sex. That's a beautiful thing that we're supposed to keep for someone we love.
We are currently out of the red light district. why sex is taboo to talk about, and it should not be because everybody does it, and it's the success of the species to reproduce, and why we're not talking about this. After rewatching this little mini documentary experience in Amsterdam, my red light district, and me getting my face all red, you know, and you do your thing, and me stepping out my comfort zone legitly, let's talk about societal standards of sex. So for women, we kind of have suffered a history of sexual shame and suppression by the society. Females will feel an inverse relationship between sex and their need for self-esteem. So instead, we're likely to seek out a sexual relationship for connection. Young women may have difficulty navigating through the sexual behavior and promiscuity. Women and females explore their sexual lives, are confident to talk about it in front of people, friends and family and partner will increase, like me right now. Men, on the other hand, traditionally feel like if they have more sex with girls, they're more successful, so they tend to seek out sex for self-esteem purposes. Young men often have desires and concerns about their penis size, performance, and premature ejaculation. It's a really double-edged sword thing. I think of everything as like a love and hate relationship, like a double-edged sword, because everything has its good and its bad on its sides, and nothing is perfect in life. Sex kind of feels like a coming of age thing, falling in love for the first time, but I technically don't feel like it should be like that, because the self-growing and self-worth, acceptance and self-actualization thing is all inner self-work and being alone. I'm a little bit confused according to societal standards. Of course, our self-worth is not defined by how attractive, how many times we have sex and all those things. And I do wish that we don't put stereotypes on people who have sex more or less, because we are all valuable human beings that contribute to the earth. We need to take responsibility of our own sexual decisions. That means sexually empowered. Means that we identify and experience wants and desires without crossing other people's boundaries, takes responsibility for your own sexual choices, educated on how your body is, and don't be ashamed of it because everybody literally have it. It is not a measuring stick for life for how many times you have sex and all those things. We are all grown-ups after 18 and we are smart enough to make decisions. I grew up in a really conservative Chinese family, not discussing the birds and bees of sex.
Back in the days when we had health class, we need to put on condom onto a banana or a cucumber. That's my limited experiences of this. And I didn't know what blowjob, porn, tantric sex, or oral sex, whatever all those things were.
Practically no one in our classmates talk about this openly. I don't know why, but when we were in swimming pools in 6th grade and 7th grade, back at middle school, the good old days, everybody in the girls' changing room just hide in the toilet stall after we shower, and we legit have skills in how to cover our body parts off. It's like done showering, and then you put this guy around your boob tuck thing. We legit change underneath here. It's like a little portable changing room situation. After the top is put on, we shimmy the towel out like this, and nobody can see it, so we don't have to wait for the toilet stall because there's only like 3 toilet stalls in the changing room. I don't know why we're so ashamed of our bodies when we were young, but now I feel like I'm more confident because I love doing fitness and I like to look at myself in the mirror. And college, I feel like sex is just a common topic they talk about during lunch, and for us it's just the birds and bees and taboo that we never talk about. But now I think after growing up and studying abroad and staying out on my own for a long time, I don't feel this taboo anymore because I'm 21 and I have the internet to educate myself with many things. First, I see its purpose of sex. It is to propagate our generation as Homo sapiens because we need to continue our generation as biological beings. Our goal on the planet is to reproduce as any species is, so every organism out there had its own protective mechanism and ways of having sex. It is really amazing how an animal kingdom have many different ways of having sex, and at least my progression with this topic is a lot better now because I am marking my own progression. So now I'm fine with discussing sex as an open topic with my family and potential boyfriend or male friends.
And I still am a believer with no premarital sex. That's my stance for sex because I'm Christianity. Still cool as a virgin right here. Any virgin down there, comment down below. Let's find a friend, be a buddy, you know. Before we go into all those other fun adventures, we need to define some sexual terms. This is the tea that we've all been waiting for. Spilling all the tea. Okay, hopefully I don't burn myself like this. I had to Google all those things because there were so many of them. I finally got those first terms. Let's review them. First one is blowjobs. I literally don't know what blowjob is. I thought it was like a literal word, and this is a job. And they just kiss someone on your mouth, just like oral sex is. French kiss is oral sex, but no, it's not. Oral sex and blowjob are the same things. It's using your mouth, stimulating the other person's genitals with your mouth. The next word is casual sex. I didn't know what this word means because I don't really have any dating experience. I have dated only for 3 months with one guy and I still miss him sometimes now. So I don't know what the heck is going on with my love relationship life. Casual sex and casual relationship, friends with benefits, means that people involved in a clear relationship just for the enjoyment of sex. But their relationship isn't romantic, there are no strings attached to it. And then the next one is horny. At first I thought horny was like this, and no, it's not. It means feeling arousal sexually. This one got me a little bit because I spent so much time alone and I'm just horny a lot of the time. But you know, once I got into the groove of filming a video, I don't get horny again. The next one. This one, I don't like it because it literally makes sexual talks a taboo. It is called the dirty talk. Talking about sex explicitly before your partner to see what position, what your sexual preferences are, and how is it freaking dirty? Because it is your love crystals. According to Chinese, it's called 爱的结晶. I'm not sure how you're supposed to translate it, but it's like two people's sperm and egg meet together and there's a baby. How magical is that? Thank you God for creating this thing. On to the next term. It's Netflix and chill. At first I thought Netflix and chill literally just meant what it meant, watching Netflix videos and just chilling at home, but no, when somebody asked you to go Netflix and chill, it means to watch Netflix and like just 5 minutes into the video, you guys will be having sex. And that's the meaning of this word. Sometimes when I look at those words and how much internet slang and languages have changed sex, this 3 simple letters, into so many other different cultures and world, kind of think is a bit wacky as I don't comprehend all the words, and sometimes it just makes things so confusing. You just can't talk about it directly. So we have dipped our toe and dived completely in the Red Light District and defined all those terms. Now we're gonna talk about the physiological side of sex. So sex has been a long time for a while, but people have been passionate about it, writing songs about it, carving statues out of it since the existence of humanity. But it wasn't until recently we have made some physiological research to what sex is. This is something that no other researcher has ever done before. We have to thank Masters and Johnson. In the late 1950s and 60s, they have did the biggest experiment on human sexual physiological response to sex. They have discovered 4 stages of this physiological response of sex: excitement, plateau, orgasm, and resolution. During the excitement phase, the organs are filled with blood and lubricated. And the next one is the plateau phase. Breathing rates and blood pressure increases and genitals become fully engaged and engorged. Until the big event, orgasm. And then for male, it's when the full body's muscle contracts and the sperm is released. Female orgasm is a little bit different. It helps draw the sperm up from the vagina into the uterus. And then after the orgasm is the resolution. Our body returns to our normal state. So now onto the part of the psychology of sex. So humans' psychological needs have 4 in total, basically. One is self-esteem, connections, security, and autonomy. Sexual relationships kind of falls into a psychological need and a physiological need. Like if you're horny or really want to have sex, you won't commit to suicide. But if you're lacking connections, it is possibly you will have those thoughts. So here's the weird doozy thing. Sex is a strategy we use to accomplish psychological needs, but it is not a need itself. Psychological reason to have sex is emotional attachment theory. This is very involuntary. Our brain are just wired for connections, and sex is just a method for it, regardless of culture, age, and race.
And whenever we are emotionally attached or in love, our brain releases dopamine, oxytocin, and decreases our prefrontal cortex activity. That's why they say love blinds people. It's very true. And then next, guess what we're talking about? Losing your virginity. I know why it is called losing your virginity, because in the Bible it says if you lose your virginity, you are losing a part of yourself, because we are connected spiritually, emotionally, and physically. It's like the highest bond of between two humans. You're actually gaining something, but you're losing a part of yourself with the other person. I have no idea how it works, but you're actually gaining a new experience. So we should be gaining your virginity. Does that sound any sense? It's your own business when you lose your virginity, and I'm still a freaking cool virgin right here doing my day. I see sex as a beautiful thing, and it's just be safe for the only one person that I love for the rest of my life. So I have nothing to say about your hymen bleeding or not, because I have never tried it before. Maybe my hymen has broken already because I used tampons to stick my finger up there when I wash it. Oh, there should that include that in the video. And I know that there are many people that don't care about premarital sex, and you just do you, and your choices are very valid. There's no right or wrong with this thing. So next, we're on to pornography. Pornography just means videos of sex and pictures of people having sex. I have never watched porn before, so I have nothing to say about this category. Real life sex is not how pornography and videos have depicted them, so you don't need to be ashamed of your body when you have sex, because this is how you look. The other person already loves how you are, as God has reunited two people together in one flesh. So, casual sex. For casual sex, alcohol and drugs are mostly involved, and sometimes unwanted decisions are made, and that's some of the downsides of it. But casual sex also have some positive benefits: increased self-confidence, hedonic and sexual pleasures that are met during the sexual intercourse, learning new sexual skills, because humans are just loving adventure creatures from the inner genetics of our heart that is wired in our evolution. Casual sex satisfies all this for humans going on an adventure, because something new, okay? It feels like accomplishing this person down, and he or she wants to have sex with you and you feel valuable. That's where the self-esteem and confidence comes. And whether to do it or not do it, it really comes down to authenticity and how casual sex aligns to your core values. And this comes to friends with benefits and casual relationships. There can be breakups with casual relationships and friends with benefits. Movies just somehow don't show those aftermath, and it can be really painful for girls, because females are generally the side that gets emotionally attached to a friend with benefit or casual relationship situation. I don't think it's possible for someone like me to feel unattached to a person, because I am so lonely and horny sometimes. I have to feel I am accompanied by someone all the time, but I kind of just came to the fact that I'm alone and I'm fine being by myself. So it is a really development process. I can't be totally independent because I'm human. I'm still wired for connections. We're talking about masturbation. I didn't know this word existed, and I didn't know it was using your fingers to rub on your genitals or putting your fingers up your vagina. Let's look at the anatomy of vagina. So it is the clitoris, the urethra, the vagina, the labial minors and labial majors, and vaginal vestibules. That's your basic anatomy 101 for your female external reproductive organs. Masturbation is just using your fingers to stimulate the clitoris, because female orgasm comes from the clitoris. That took me so long to realize, and I had to ask my mom, like, what is the clitoris? Where does the orgasm feeling comes from? My mom's like, girl, it's this clitoris. Masturbation is not bad for your health, and it's not something dirty, because I've solved most of my horny days through that. And finally, I know this word existed, I think just 3 years ago in college, and nice vocabulary in life that must be learned. So my take on masturbation is that there's a line in Bibles saying in Corinthians 10:23, it says, I have the right to do anything you say, but not everything is beneficial. So is masturbation common good or not? Like, can you masturbate with just yourself without watching or imagination any other things like sexual videos that need to stimulate you? But maybe after marriage it will be a bad thing. So we can do all things at free will, but it might not be good for us. But it really depends on what life stage I'm in right now. So, on to the most important part, sexual protections. The most common one is condoms because they are cheap and affordable. They are pretty effective against STIs, and girls, you can also bring some on your pockets and wallets because it does not mean that guys always should have one. Girls should be prepared as always. Speaking of buying condoms, I was looking at them in the sex museum and then the counter person was like, are you gonna buy a condom? I'm like, no, I'm just looking at those wonderful packages. They're so artsy and I don't know why. I'm just attracted to strange things and what's wrong with you? It looks kind of therapeutic to be honest. So let's break down the pros and cons of condoms too. The benefits are easy to buy, cheap, and has no side effects, but the downside is that it decreases your sex sensations and it has some failure rates if it breaks or not used properly. Not always against STIs, it's not 100% rate successful. And for some situations that you should encounter a gynecologist, where's the sexual doctor? Is that the word for it? Gynecologist? Make sure my English is good and I'm pronouncing it correctly. When you have unusual discharge from the vaginal region, pain from peeing, a rash, lumps or external extra skin growth on the genitals, and itchy genitals or anus. Some of the common STIs from our microbiology class I remember are chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, HIV, herpes, the list goes on, but those are just some common ones. After safe sex, guess what we're talking about next? Contraception! Well, I haven't even think about having a baby, so I've never looked into contraception before, but I did a lot of research and learned a lot during my process. Well, the sad thing is I have to say is that peak fertility is around 30 years old, and after 35 there can be risk when having babies. And this is just how biologically God has made us, so that's why societal standards had put in pressure on women that if we don't get married before 30, so continue to the research. This is a lifelong learning passion, you know. So there are quite a lot of contraceptions that exist in the world out there. Condoms, caps, patches, hormones, injections, cone, family planning, and contraception sponge. And of course there are always side effects with pills. If someone says that there's no side effects with those pills, they're just lying to you because pills mess around with your hormones and emotions. Sometimes you get so depressed and have mood swings when you eat pills. Well, so let's start with the first one in detail. The contraception sponge. It's like a donut shaped sponge that you put into your vagina and block the sperm from going up there. It is effective for 24 hours. No prescription is required. The bad thing is that it doesn't protect against STI, so put your sponge in the kitchen, not up your vagina. So the next one is Nuva rings. So Nuva ring just sounds like it is a ring and it has hormones. It stops you from ovulation, so sperms can't fertilize your eggs because there's no eggs essentially. They are very expensive, $180 for one ring without insurance. And pros for Nuva rings is that it have high successful rate and you don't need much attention in it. The cons is that it can't protect you against STI and it is very expensive. So the next one is an IUD. It means intrauterine device. This one took me so long to figure it out because it is a T-shaped device that you put it into your uterus. It just sounds kind of scary if you're putting a foreign device into your uterus. The pro for this is that it is very effective and you don't need daily attention for it because you just put it into your uterus and it's up there. The con is that it doesn't protect you against an STI and you need to insert it under health professional self-care circumstances. Those are just some of the ones that I came across with, and I put the link below. The link is called Parenthood. It has many more details on those contraceptions. And my version of birth control is really easy. Just not have sex. That is also another version of birth control. Just for those people who don't want to eat pills. And my final note is that there is no perfect birth control method because it is always a foreign body that is in your body that is controlling your menstrual cycle and hormones. They always say the old saying, natural is the best, and that is no wrong. Natural and healthy things runs on a sequence and season itself because that's how God has designed us. Why do I look like a chicken like this? I think it is very important to have the talk because this is how you're born. This is how your mom and dad made you. And I think it is very important to educate kids in this because it decreases the chances of STIs and teen pregnancy rates. And then teenagers often seek for help and guidance after they have made the decisions because they are scared to talk about it. And then until the really end of the relationship, or someone might just put a knife on you, like, if you tell your mom and dad, I will show all your nude pictures and all that things. Then still, my mom showed me so many stories and newspapers regarding to those events. And then the last reason is no equals no. It means that the more you know, the more informed you will be. Better to say a decision of no or yes to having sex. And those are some reasons to support sexual education in school. Filming this was an audacity. I hope you guys have fun during this adventure, hearing me ranting about sex, contraceptions, and laws of sex and everything covered, because I've learned so much during this process. Work hard, play hard in school and life, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!